Hello out there in internet land. This is episode 21 of the P&J F1 chat. I'm your host Phil Lamington, and beside me is a man who even he would try and run Lewis Hamilton off the road. JB, how are you, JB, my friend?
You don't know that for a fact, even though it's maybe true. No, I don't hate him that much. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Another race in the books. Only 3 more to go now.
Yeah, but it's still a tightly contested season this year.
Oh, yeah. Shit is heating up.
And it was the third and final race to contain the sprint.
Yes, I remember last episode we were struggling to find out what the third race on the sprint was, and we couldn't figure
this one.
because it hadn't happened yet.
Yes.
Yay.
Yay.
One mystery solved like Scooby-Doo.
So, pardon me. So we're going to go through the results of the sprint race.
Yes.
And then I believe JB has some notes on the sprint race.
I have some notes on the sprint race and the Grand Prix.
Good man. So the sprint race. In first place was Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. Second place was Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. Third place was Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. Fourth was Sergio Perez in the sister Red Bull. Lewis Hamilton was fifth, having fought back from dead last, which we will get into soon about why he was dead last. He was fifth. Sixth was Lando Norris in the McLaren. Seventh was Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. Eighth was Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri. Ninth was Esteban Ocon in ninth in the Alpine. 10th was Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin. 11th was Daniel Ricciardo in the sister McLaren. Fernando Alonso was 12th in the sister Alpine. 13th was Antonio Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo. 14th was Sir Lancelot, Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. 15th was Yuki Tsunoda in the other AlphaTauri. 16th was Nicholas Latifi in the Williams, who managed to outdo 17th place George Russell in the Williams. 18th was Kimi Raikkonen. 19th was Mick Schumacher. And 20th was Nikita Mazepin in the Haas.
Absolutely. Now, before we even got to the sprint race, and we'll cover this in more detail in a sec, post-qualifying, drama for both championship leaders. Lewis Hamilton was disqualified from qualifying classifications after the FIA found that his DRS mainplane flap exceeded the 85mm opening limit on the right-hand side of the rear wing, and started the sprint race from 20th and last. It exceeded by 0.2mm, which is fuck all, but in a sport of microseconds and, anorexic performance, it all counts. And Max Verstappen was fined €50,000, which is chump change for him, but he touched Lewis's rear wing in parc ferme conditions. He was checking something out. He never really divulged what it was. So yeah, Lewis had to start from the back, and Max got a slap on the wrist. But the sprint race began anyway on the Saturday afternoon. Lap 1, Max Verstappen started on pole position from Valtteri Bottas. Bottas covered Max off into turn 1 with Carlos Sainz's rocket start on the soft tyres. Carlos climbed into second. Valtteri took the lead. And Carlos also passed Verstappen. So it was Bottas from Sainz from Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton had climbed into 15th by the end of lap 1. So he had pace in the Mercedes right from the start of the weekend. Lap 2, Kimi Raikkonen was spun by his Alfa Romeo teammate Antonio Giovinazzi into turn 1. Lap 3, Max Verstappen was complaining about his gear synchronization as a factor to falling to third spot, but he got into second place regardless with a move down the front straight on Carlos Sainz. Lap 9, Lando Norris ignited the Ferrari vs McLaren battle with an awesome move on Charles Leclerc. Lap 13, Lewis Hamilton cracked the top 10 with a move on Daniel Ricciardo. Lap 20, Lewis Hamilton was up to 6th, getting past Charles Leclerc. Lap 24, Lewis Hamilton dive-bombed Lando Norris into turn 1 moving into 5th, ensuring he would start the Grand Prix from 10th with his 5-place grid drop for his 5th internal combustion unit. But meanwhile, at the front, Valtteri Bottas held off Max Verstappen to take the win in the sprint race, with Carlos Sainz toughing out a 3rd-place finish. He did the whole sprint race on softs, as opposed to most of the people around him were on mediums. So he managed to squeeze the life out of those softs and held on for 3rd, which was a good drive for him.
Which then led to the race, and Lewis Hamilton received a 5-place grid penalty for taking a new combustion engine, his 5th for the season.
Yes.
So that dropped him down to 10th on the starting grid. So then we get to the race itself, the Grand Prix. Grand Prix, sorry. I've got my French wrong there. So, the race classification, Lewis Hamilton won the race, having started in 10th. 2nd place was Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. 3rd place was Valtteri Bottas in the other Mercedes. 4th place was Sergio Perez in the other Red Bull. 5th place was Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, followed by his teammate in 6th, Carlos Sainz. 7th place was Pierre the Gasman Gasly in the AlphaTauri. Sorry, I just heard that during the race about how his nickname is the Gas Man. So I'm going to stick it in there somewhere. 8th place was Esteban Ocon in the Alpine, followed by his teammate Fernando Alonso. In 10th was Lando Norris in the McLaren. 11th was Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin. 12th was Kimi Raikkonen in the Alfa Romeo. 13th was George Russell in the Williams. 14th was Antonio Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo. There's so many Alfas on the grid.
Too many.
There's
too many
Alfas. No more Alfas. Someone's got to be an Omega. Oh, wait, that's Haas.
Someone's got to be a beta.
No one wants to be a beta.
Be a sub, not a dom.
Damn it, I lost my place. 15th was Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. 16th was Nicholas Latifi in the Williams. 17th was Nikita Mazepin in the Haas. 18th was Mick Schumacher in the Haas. And the 2 DNFs were Daniel Ricciardo in the McLaren and Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin.
Yes. Unfortunately. Alright, so the way the Grand Prix unfolded. Lap 1, Valtteri Bottas starts on pole from Max Verstappen. Max squeezes Bottas into turn 2 and takes the lead of the race. Bottas then runs wide into turn 4, and Perez gets through on him for a Red Bull 1-2. Meanwhile, Lando Norris's great start is scuppered by contact with Carlos Sainz, his left rear tyre puncturing instantly, which sucks because had he pulled that move off, he would have been 3rd.
But he didn't.
But he didn't, no. I love the smugness in your tone. Lap 3, Lewis Hamilton passes Carlos Sainz into 5th after starting 10th. Yuki Tsunoda hits Lance Stroll, destroying his front wing. Lap 5, Bottas lets Hamilton through early to chase Verstappen and Perez. Lap 7, the safety car was deployed so the marshals can clear the debris, with George Russell taking an early pit stop. Lap 11, Mick Schumacher hits Kimi Raikkonen and loses his front wing, with the virtual safety car being deployed. Lap 15, Yuki Tsunoda was given a 10-second time penalty for his contact with Lance Stroll. Lap 18, Lewis Hamilton passes Sergio Perez into turn 1 around the outside, but Perez got him back into turn 4. But the lap later, lap 19, Hamilton went past Perez again down the front straight in a pretty much identical move, this time holding the place. Lap 27, Lewis Hamilton pits onto fresh hards, trying to undercut Verstappen, with Carlos Sainz pitting as well. Lap 28, Red Bull reacted, Max Verstappen pitting and just getting out in front of Lewis Hamilton, who was stuck behind Ricciardo for his outlap. Lap 30, the virtual safety car was deployed again as Lance Stroll's barge board disintegrates down the front straight. Valtteri Bottas taking his chance to have a sneaky pit stop and getting out in front of Sergio Perez. Lap 39, Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso passed Yuki Tsunoda into turn 1, with Vettel getting into the points while Tsunoda served his time penalty at the end of that lap. Lap 40, Max Verstappen undercuts Lewis Hamilton for his second set of brand new hard tyres. Nicholas Latifi swerved into his way as he was leaving the pit lane, but Max eventually got past him. Lap 42, Valtteri Bottas pitted for fresh hard tyres and came out 5th behind Charles Leclerc. Lap 43, Sergio Perez pitted, but he came out behind Valtteri Bottas, essentially leaving Max to fight the Mercedes duo by himself, failing in his tail gunning duties there. Lap 44, Lewis Hamilton pits for his second set of hard tyres and came out around about 3 seconds on track behind Max Verstappen. Lewis argued he wanted the medium tyres, but Mercedes countered with degradation was high. Lap 48, Lewis Hamilton attempts to pass Max Verstappen with both cars leaving the track. The incident was noted by the FIA, but no penalty was awarded. Lap 50, Lance Stroll retires with a technical issue, so does Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel seeming to lose power apparently in his engine, not entirely sure what happened to Lance Stroll. Lap 59, Lewis Hamilton finally gets past Max Verstappen into turn 4, with the Mercedes being 20 kilometres an hour faster in a straight line than the Red Bull using DRS.
You sounded slightly Italian then, in the Red Bull. The Red Bull.
Grazie. Lap 61, Max Verstappen was giving a warning for swerving down the front straight, while Gasly and Ocon nearly crash into each other into turn 1. And then shit settled down, and lap 71, Lewis Hamilton wins the Brazilian Grand Prix from Max Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas, Max maintaining a 13-point lead in the championship, with Sergio Perez setting the fastest lap on the final lap, and Lewis Hamilton voted driver of the day.
Which I think, despite how much I dislike the man, I think Lewis Hamilton deserved driver of the day. He put on a really good drive.
I think it's utterly inarguable.
And, I mean, he was probably the driver of the weekend, despite the fact that he had mountains of opposition.
Imagine what he would have done had he just started on the front row for both those races. He would have won by like a minute.
Yeah, it would have been...
He was untouchable.
It would have been 2014 all over again.
It's like every time you start doubting the man, he just fucking pulls some shit off. Like it or lump it, he is the best driver of this generation.
Well, I mean, it was in Sao Paulo, which, let's call a spade here. It's Senna country.
It's Senna country, and he loves this track.
And he loves Senna.
And he's got good memories of this track from 2008.
Yeah, even better was 2007. Anyway,
we'll leave that there.
So, yeah, like, Max Verstappen, he did his best all day, and we will talk about the overtake.
We'll get to that, yeah.
We'll get to that.
Were you surprised, genuinely surprised by just how much pace the Mercedes seems to have now? I sort of am.
I am too.
Just the sheer magnitude of it. 20 kilometres an hour isn't a joke on a track that was supposed to suit the Red Bull because of the tight, twisty nature of it. But Mercedes just came to play. I think Christian Horner's sweating bullets now, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the Mercedes managed its tyres better. I think that's where the secret was.
Which is rare, because usually it's the Red Bull doing it to them, but Lewis was, absolutely untouchable this weekend. It was phenomenal.
Everything just clicked during the race for Hamilton. I think that's
he was right. He passed, 15 cars in the sprint race.
Yeah.
And then passed another 10 cars in the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
That's a 25 place fucking gain over 2 races.
Yeah, that's right.
So you can't take anything away from him this weekend. There was nothing controversial about it. He just drove the fucking wheels off that thing. And I'm genuinely surprised because I thought this was going to be an easy Max win.
Yeah, if it had rained, it would have been Max all over.
I reckon you're right. I reckon if it did rain, it might have been Max, but
it didn't. So
it didn't rain a single drop. We amped this up as always going to be. Yeah. It always rains in Sao Paulo, except this weekend.
Yeah, after we said it always rains in Sao Paulo.
That's it.
I think Bottas and Perez can hang their heads high, though. They both did a really good job as the tail gunners.
That's it. They were definitely playing the team game as best they could for their respective teams, and Mercedes got the swing out of it and maintained the constructors lead, I believe. But you couldn't have asked much more from either of them. for all four of those drivers.
Yeah.
You know, Max gave it everything he could. Lewis was untouchable. Valtteri did what he could. Sergio did what he could.
The two drivers that, well, it was actually 4 drivers that really impressed me this weekend, and the two of them are first two are Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz.
They've just been working in tandem so well lately.
I probably said the complete opposite a week ago, but I would have bet the farm that McLaren would have had the stronger car this weekend.
They had the chance to, and that's what fucking sucks. Lando was on the outside of Carlos going into turn 1. Had the move stuck, he's P3 on lap 1, and God knows where he goes on with it from there. And Ricciardo was up in the points all day until his engine let go on lap 50. So
that was something I took down in my notes watching the race, was that the Ferrari seemed really strong when it was following a car. Like it could maintain speed. At one point, it was faster than a Mercedes.
I called it the more adaptable out of the two cars.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious now.
Yeah.
I think whatever they've done with the aero package is paying dividends.
And now they're running the 800-volt battery.
Yeah, they've just kicked it up a gear. I think
because every other engine manufacturer has been running an 800-volt battery, except for Ferrari, that's been running a 400-volt.
Yeah.
Which meant on the straights they were dead ducks because they didn't have as much battery juice.
Now they're on an even keel. They can show what
Yeah.
that car can do, and it's
Yeah.
fucking probably the third best car on the grid now.
Yeah.
I think the McLaren's done all it can do. I think now it's just they got to hope and pray for some luck and some results to go their way, because they're about to lose this battle, I think.
I think what the problem with McLaren is that when they had the advantage, even though like hindsight is always 20/20, you know, and to quote Megadeth, looking back is still a little bit fuzzy. McLaren had the advantage, but because their drivers, specifically Daniel Ricciardo, and I don't want to sit there and sound like Fox Motorsports, but Daniel Ricciardo has been very inconsistent. Norris has been a little bit more consistent, but those two Ferrari drivers have been consistent all year.
Yeah.
And they are working well together as a tandem, where there seems to be...
As a team, we were saying it all year, as a team, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc are the best team on the grid.
Yeah.
As a tandem,
Yeah.
as a driver duo.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They miles leagues ahead of Ricciardo and Norris.
Yeah.
Norris was doing it all on his own for the longest time until Danny Boy cracked it for a win in Monza, and then Lando should have cracked it for a win in Sochi.
When it comes to Daniel Ricciardo, I'm starting to think that Ricciardo needs to stop clowning around and just get on with it.
He wasn't clowning around though. Like there was 3, 4, 5 races in a row where he found form.
Yeah.
Like he won Monza, but he wasn't far away in, I think it was Hungary. Spa he had pace, even though it was rained out. He had qualifying pace. He seemed to have it worked out. Austin, he had a good race in Austin. I think he finished P5. So, and he would have had good pace in Mexico, but for spinning Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah.
And he was in the points today, but for his engine failure.
I just want to see him...
I want to see more out of him.
I want to see him get a little bit more serious and start taking shit a bit more serious.
I think I genuinely think he just can't. Something about the car just doesn't sit well with him.
Yeah.
He just can't get his head around it. Like it started to. On certain tracks, he's great. But on certain tracks, he's not so great. And I said, Daniel Ricciardo's performance reflects McLaren's performance. You know, he didn't have a great day today, although Lando could have definitely had a better day. Both those guys could have had a better day today, so it doesn't really count. But I mean, Ricciardo finished P5. I think Lando was like P7 in Austin.
Yeah.
They were 1 and 2 in Monza. They were, I think, 4th and 7th in Sochi. That could have easily been 1st and 4th.
Yeah.
You know, but it just sucks that what momentum they had, they've lost it, along with the confidence.
Yeah.
Like, this team's shot at the moment. They don't know where their next big fucking points haul's even coming from at this stage. Which sucks, but that's just testament to how good Ferrari and Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz are as a unit. And I think it's going to pay dividends by them sealing third in the constructors.
The other two drivers that really impressed me this weekend were the Alpine drivers of Ocon and Alonso.
Yeah.
But that Alpine had something this weekend.
It did.
I mean, it wasn't the fastest car, but it had something.
It likes a twistier sort of track, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Ocon won Hungary, and Alonso wasn't far behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we underestimated the shit out of them. I think at the start of the year, we called them overrated. We thought the Alpine wasn't being that good of a car, and at the start of the year, I guess you could probably say we were right.
Yeah.
But it's come along now. They've got their head around it, and with 3 races to go, they're trying to chase down AlphaTauri now, which is going to be it's going to be a tight battle to the end as well for those two.
But I think the one saving grace that AlphaTauri has is the gas man, Pierre Gasly, because Tsunoda Tsunoda is just a rocket without a rudder.
Yeah, he's quick, but come race day, he's
Kamikaze.
makes dumb mistakes.
He's irrational.
Yeah, he's not.
He's either irrational or impatient.
Yeah, his race IQ, he needs to be more patient. He needs to be more patient because he just doesn't drive with patience. He keeps putting his car in shit spots.
And I saw an interview with him, or someone was talking about an interview with him, and he said he was lucky that he managed to retain his seat for next year at AlphaTauri.
It's probably not wrong. I mean, they don't have a whole lot of patience in that Red Bull. That Red Bull sort of thing. Helmut Marko.
I think the thing that saved him is the fact that of the Red Bull agreement with Honda. That's how they got the IP for the powertrain.
I think his saving grace is his first season. Even Daniel Kvyat was given, Albon, Kvyat. They were given chances.
Yeah.
So Yuki's got that to fall back on. But if he doesn't have a good 2022,
Brendan Hartley wasn't really given a good shot though.
Brendan Hartley wasn't really that good of a driver, to be fair.
Yeah, he was more a endurance racer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yuki Tsunoda needs a good season next season to retain that seat because there's not a whole lot of patience in that Red Bull garage.
No.
Helmut Marko is a very impatient man.
But all in all, overall with the race, it was an interesting race. It wasn't the most exciting race.
It was intriguing enough.
Yeah, and try that in English. There happened to be a lot of overtaking on there, and
there was some good racing. There was some good racing throughout the pack. But I just think, overshadowed by Lewis Hamilton's just flawless weekend.
Which then brings us to some of the pit lane stuff. So the pit lane questions posing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we spoke about it earlier, about Lewis Hamilton's DQ from qualifying because of his DRS wing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that was fair. It was wider.
It was a breach of regulations. Apparently, it wasn't broken. And the FIA decided the wing wasn't made illegal. It wasn't deliberately done. They deemed it was 0.2 of a mil, which is fucking immeasurable, except for the little laser pointer thing they used to actually measure it.
Yeah.
So they said it wasn't a deliberate design flaw, that something had happened.
Yeah.
Which
then led to Toto Wolff blaming Max Verstappen for it because Max Verstappen touched the wing after qualifying. That, I'm afraid, is bullshit.
Didn't lift the wing up.
No, he just walked over, touched it with his finger, and then...
And if I remember correctly, he touched the left-hand side of the wing.
Yeah.
And the fault was on the right.
Yeah.
So I don't think Toto's got much of a leg to stand on there.
Yeah, no, Toto out and out said, Max was poking around with our wing, and then all of a sudden we're,
0.2 of a mil out.
yeah. And he
Yeah.
tried blaming Max.
Max didn't lift the wing flap. He just touched it. And I'm pretty sure he touched it in the middle and on the left.
Yeah.
And they found the fault on the right-hand side, so I don't... It's irrelevant. He got what he deserved. It was a breach of technical regulations.
Yeah.
It's inarguable.
And I mean,
And if
look,
it was
look at the
shoe
result.
if the shoe was on the other foot,
Yeah.
you can't argue it either.
Look at the result, though.
It didn't really affect him, did it?
So then we get to the incident during the race,
Yeah.
which was Lewis Hamilton trying to overtake Max Verstappen, and Max Verstappen forcing Lewis Hamilton wide.
Yes.
Now, for me, as I cycle through the photos, because I have to be both Joe Rogan and Jamie at the same time. For me, and this is a big call, I actually agree with Mercedes. I think it should have been investigated a bit more. It looked a little bit sus from Max Verstappen for me.
The only way Max got away with this was because there wasn't contact. But Max absolutely drove him off the track. I agree too.
And
As much as I'm in his corner, Max's corner, to win the championship, that was dirty.
yeah,
That was dirty.
That was showing desperation.
Yeah,
And that's the
he
same
knew.
level of desperation that we've been criticising Lewis Hamilton for
Yeah.
all year. And now Max is starting to pull dirty little crap as
But
well.
it's desperation.
Yeah,
that,
that's
that
right.
car behind him is 20 kilometres an hour faster in a straight line.
But the thing is, and some people will criticise me for being lopsided or I can't even
Bias.
think of the bias, is that now that we've seen that both drivers will do what it takes to win.
Yeah.
Now I'm excited because these two will do whatever it takes to win, by hook or by crook.
I can't remember who said it. Someone said it.
What if Nicky is being tricky and getting a kicky out of
Playing mind games.
playing mind games? Then fine.
Someone said if Verstappen was ahead in the championship come Abu Dhabi, would he pull a Prost? Would he pull a Senna? A Senna Prost. Just take him out at the first corner. And I can't remember who they were interviewing, but he said yes. I think he would. I don't think he'd be proud of it,
But he'd still be world
but I
champion.
think Max might consider it. I don't think Lewis has too much pride, I guess, to consider it.
I think it depends how big the margin is.
It's not going to be a big margin. In fact, and this is a big call, I reckon Lewis might be leading the championship come Abu Dhabi. I think he will. I think he might be leading the championship come Abu Dhabi, and Max is going to have to fucking chase him. I just think the Mercedes has too much pace at the moment. They're going to Qatar, which no one's been there, but it's a fast-flowing circuit. They're going to Jeddah, which is a high-speed circuit.
It's a street circuit.
Yeah, but it's a fast street circuit. And then they're going to Abu Dhabi, which has two big straights.
Something that might affect with Jeddah. Jeddah?
Jeddah, yeah.
Jeddah. Something in Jeddah that might affect the Mercedes is the fact that it is a street circuit.
It will get hot.
It'll be hot, and that Mercedes does not like following another car.
I don't know, it did pretty well today.
Yeah, it did pretty well today, but for the majority of the season, it has not worked well.
If it's going to
following
get,
another
and
car.
that might be Red Bull's only saving grace, is
Yeah.
that the power unit starts fagging out. Because it happened to Daniel Ricciardo. His McLaren lost power. His Mercedes power unit lost power. If that's the first sign of maybe a crack, a chink in the armour, that might be Red Bull's only saving grace. Is that they're going to a hot street circuit and a power circuit where the engine's going to be at high revs for most of the race, that may be the only thing that saves Max is an engine failure or something equivalent, because I do believe the Honda engine's more reliable at this stage than the Mercedes engine.
Yeah.
But we will see. Because, I've got this real gut feeling that Lewis Hamilton is going to be leading the championship come Abu Dhabi, unless he has an engine failure in Jeddah. I just think in the way Ferrari's taken the momentum away from McLaren, Mercedes is starting to take the momentum away from Red Bull.
Part of me thinks, though, that the Red Bulls didn't quite have their car set up right. And I know in this day and age, you very rarely hear the cars went for the wrong setup. I mean, in the 90s, it was always they'd do a setup on a car, and then the next day it would be raining, and Murray Walker would be sitting there going, well, they set their cars up for a dry race, and it's a wet race, and...
Yeah, but I mean, there wasn't a cloud in the sky all weekend.
No, but I mean, what if Red Bull had kind of factored in maybe if it rains, even though they've got far more advanced weather prediction technology than anything else, than anyone else. What if that was a factor in there?
It could have been, but I think they're desperately fucking worried now.
I think
that
both
they were
teams
outgunned. They would not, as I wasn't, as you weren't, as not a lot of people were. I did not see Red Bull getting properly outgunned at Interlagos. No way. No way, and they got blitzed. I mean, imagine if Lewis had started from pole. He wins that race by a minute.
But then
it was total domination, and I don't think Max or Red Bull have an answer at the moment, and I don't know where they're going to find an answer.
Well,
because he's not letting this championship fight go.
One thing that I have noticed this season is that every time Lewis Hamilton starts on pole or starts ahead of a Red Bull, he ends up behind that Red Bull in the first lap, going into the first corner.
Yeah, he's a little bit flipped from what he used to be. He used to be a lead from the front driver, but he very much likes the chase now.
He's not getting the starts when he's up the front.
Yeah, he very much likes the chase now. He did it in Austin. He almost got Max. He did it here and Interlagos. I think he did it in... Did he do it in Turkey as well? And he he did it in Sochi. You know, he's multiple times this year he's come from back down the field. You know, he's comfortable leading a race, but I think he's relishing the chase.
Yeah.
At the moment, and I think it's playing to his strength as a come from behind driver. So we'll see what happens. I think Red Bull does not have long to sort this out. I mean, they're going straight to Qatar now, so they've got no rest for the wicked. Straight in Qatar, a track they've never been to, a track they've got no data on. Then I think they get a 2-week break, and they're on to Jeddah, where they've never been, where they've got no data on. And then they're onto a revamped Abu Dhabi with parts of that track that they've never raced on. So they don't have long to figure out whatever it is Mercedes has over them. They've got to figure it out, or Hamilton's breaking Schumacher's record. And you know what? He'll fully fucking deserve it if he does.
Yeah. I still seem to think Max Verstappen's going to win this year, though.
If they've got a trick up their sleeve, they're going to need to use it.
Well, I mean, Hamilton did take a new engine, like a new combustion engine.
Maybe you can use that as an excuse to his outright pace. He had a brand new internal combustion engine, which is generating a bajillion horsepower. He's got, obviously, the freshest ICE on the grid.
Yeah.
Because it's only run one race now. But he can't afford to take another one, obviously, so that's going to go into the last 3 races. I don't know if Max has any left. I'm not sure he does. I don't know if you even take the gamble. Would you even take the gamble at this stage to put a new engine in Max's car and see if he can overcome a 5-place grid drop?
No.
You probably can't.
No.
Exactly. So I don't know what answer Christian Horner will Max or Red Bull have at this stage besides an outright engine failure for Lewis?
Yeah.
That is probably the only thing they're going to be able to hinge their hat on. Or a crash. Or Lewis spins, makes a mistake, a botch pit stop, something. Right now, Lewis will have to lose, or his reliability will have to lose him a race for Max to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Max one-on-one outright has the speed to beat Lewis at this point now.
Yeah.
So we will see.
So the final pit lane question, it's not really a question. So last night, well, before we get into it, so we are we're an F1 podcast,
Yes.
but we do, particularly JB here, he does follow other forms of motorsport.
Mm-hmm.
And last night was the last race of the MotoGP season,
Correct.
which also meant that it was the last race of Valentino Rossi.
That's it. Absolute legend of the sport. One of the most popular riders of all time. Entire grandstands dedicated to him at every race event. Pretty much. I mean, where there's yellow smoke, where there's a race event, there's yellow smoke. 9-time champion, absolute legend.
Was he 9-time champion?
Including his junior titles. I think he was 9-time champion. Yeah.
Because he was 7-time MotoGP world champion.
7-time MotoGP world champion. And I think he had
77 wins.
a couple, yes.
48 pole positions. And I know that you're a Senna fan, but
Yes.
to me, he was like the Michael Schumacher of MotoGP.
And the fact that he battled generations of riders,
Yeah.
which is even more impressive. You know, he battled Doohan and Biaggi.
Well, Mick Doohan took him under his wing, didn't he? Back in the day?
Yeah, possibly early on in his career.
Because they both rode for Repsol Honda.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think they just missed each other. But you know, he was battling Biaggi, and then he was battling Stoner, and then he was battling Lorenzo, and then he was battling Marquez.
Yeah, he was also battling Gibernau?
Sete Gibernau, yeah, like he went through probably 3 or 4 generations of riders and outlasted them all.
And Capriossi.
Yeah, Caparossi,
Yeah.
all those guys,
Yeah.
and outlasted them all. You know, Nicky Hayden. You know, so just to have that longevity in the sport, and fittingly, he actually finished 10th. He finished his last race. He hasn't had great form, obviously, but he finished his final race in the points, which was fitting. But just to have that longevity, the success, and rightfully regarded as the greatest of all time at this stage. We'll see how Marc Marquez's career progresses, but at this stage, he's the GOAT. And
well, for me, like, I know for probably majority of his career, he rode for Yamaha.
Yeah.
But for me, he'll always be a Honda rider first and foremost.
I'll always just remember that yellow Honda. Yeah.
You know, and I'll always remember him. Like, my brother was right into MotoGP. I didn't watch it as much, but he hero worshipped Valentino Rossi until he went to Yamaha, and then he went no. But
He went to Yamaha and was just as successful. I mean, broke my heart when he left Honda as well, but the fact that not only did he battle generations of riders, he did it on different machinery.
yeah, because he
won
was with
Honda.
Honda.
Yep.
He won with Yamaha.
Yes.
He wasn't quite so successful with Ducati.
Yeah.
He replaced Casey Stoner, didn't he, at Ducati?
Possibly. Yeah, he might have. I can't remember. Bit of a stretch.
But for me, his rivalry with Max Biaggi.
Yeah.
I mean, those two were brutal.
His rivalry with Max Biaggi, his rivalry with Casey Stoner, his rivalry with Jorge Lorenzo, and his rivalry with Marc Marquez. As much as I was on the Marquez camp and I wasn't a fan of some of his tactics at some of the races in 2015, but phenomenal rider. and going to be sorely missed around the MotoGP
And
paddock.
he also got to drive a Ferrari Formula One car.
He also got to drive Lewis Hamilton's
Mercedes.
And Lewis Hamilton got to take his bike for a lap, which was pretty cool.
And he also did some rallying as well.
Yeah.
So he's...
And now he's had his ranch for ages, training up all the new Italian riders, including Pecco Bagnaia, who is championship favourite going into next year. So his legacy is going to continue.
Yeah.
Through the riders, you know.
Yeah, he has given so much to not just MotoGP, but motorsport in general.
Exactly.
Not that he's dead. Like, he's not dead.
Sounds like he's dying.
Everything I've said sort of made it like he passed away or something. But, you know, grazie Val.
Grazie Vale. Yeah, brilliant career.
Yeah.
MotoGP will be a poorer place without him, but, you know, every legacy comes to an end.
That's right. Same with Formula One.
Exactly. We've got to say goodbye to Kimi at the end of the year.
Yeah. Same with Australian supercars, because Jamie Winchcup, isn't he retiring at the end of the year?
He is. To a lesser extent, you know.
Who knows? He might actually succeed at Bathurst this year, but chances are he won't.
We'll see. We will see.
So that's the pit lane questions. Now, if I can reach over, there we go. So now we've got the driver standings after the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Max Verstappen still in first place with 332.5 points. I'm going to be so glad when this season's over, so I don't have to keep saying 0.5.
No more half points, please.
Second place is Lewis Hamilton on 318.5 points. Valtteri Bottas is on 203 points. Sergio Perez is in fourth with 178 points. Lando Norris is in fifth with 151 points. Charles Leclerc is in sixth, nipping at his heels with 148 points.
Not only is McLaren going to lose fourth or third in the constructors here, I think Charles Leclerc's about to jump Lando Norris and the drivers as well, just to add insult to injury.
Yeah, it'll make me smile.
Probably both of them, actually. I'll be real. Carlos might catch him too.
Who knows? We'll see how it goes. Carlos Sainz is in seventh?
Yeah.
Yes, seventh. I had to do the count back there. Seventh on 139.5 points. Daniel Ricciardo is in eighth with 105 points. Pierre Gasly is in ninth with 92 points. And Fernando Alonso is in 10th with 62 points. And in the team standings, Mercedes is ahead on 521.5 points. Red Bull is on 510.5 points. Ferrari is in third with 287.5 points. McLaren, they're dropping off.
The tyres are dropping off at the end of the race, mate.
Yeah, it's time for a new set of tyres. McLaren is in fourth with 256 points. Alpine and AlphaTauri are still tied.
I'm
at
impressed.
Fifth,
They came into this race tied on points.
and they're still
And they're
tied.
leaving the race tied on points.
Tied on 112 points. Aston Martin is in seventh with 68 points. Williams is in eighth with 23 points. Alfa Romeo is in ninth with 11 points. And the Haas has still got not a single dollar to their name.
They're not going to get a single dollar to their name. We said it at the start of the year that they wouldn't get anything with 3 races to go. They still got nothing.
I don't know. Mazepin is still the champion in Who Gives a Fuckistan in the AK-47 firing championship. So
Yeah, he still wants to step up to a better team. Good luck, friend.
yeah, good luck with that. It'd be future endeavoured.
Oof.
You end up driving for WWE Formula One. Right, so the next race is next week at Qatar.
Yeah, the Lusail International Circuit, which reminds me a lot of Bahrain, actually, in its layout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never seen a Formula One car go around there. I've only seen MotoGP bikes go around there, so I'm not entirely sure who it favours. I have a sneaking suspicion it might favour the Mercedes, but we will see come race night. I assume it's going to be a night race because it's in the middle of the fucking desert.
Yeah.
I mean, the MotoGP race is a night race anyway, so it's nothing new to them. I'm excited to see another new track.
And it's not on the calendar for next year, but then after that, it's on the calendar for the next 10 years.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah,
It's a good track.
yeah, it's
As
something
I
new.
said, it reminds me of Bahrain, which driving on the game, strictly speaking, Bahrain is my favourite track. So I enjoy the layout. Haven't quite got the layout nailed on the new MotoGP game, but I gave it a test run the other day.
Yeah.
But I'm keen to see cars in a new environment. You know, it levels the playing field a little bit.
Yeah.
We could have a surprise, but I doubt it. I think it's going to be very much a Lewis versus Max scenario again.
Yeah.
So keen to see it.
Now, just a heads up, next week's podcast might be a little bit late, because I am getting my second jab.
You're getting the 5G installation.
Yeah, I'm getting the 5G
You had the
installation.
primer. You had the primer. Now they're getting in. And if you're anything like me,
The first one was the lube. Now we're aiming for penetration.
yeah, now the microchip comes in.
Yeah. It'll make it easier to pay for stuff like just wave my hand over the FPOS machine.
Yeah, you're wondering why your machines beep at you when you walk past them now.
So it just depends on how hard it knocks me about as to whether or not we do the podcast earlier in the week or a bit later in the week. But
Well, we can't do it earlier in the week. We have to actually watch the race. And
That's true.
unfortunately for us, with every race being in the Middle East from now on, they're going to be at stupid o'clock in the morning.
Stupid o'clock.
Every race we're going to have to watch on the Monday now, I think. Because I'm pretty sure Abu Dhabi started at like midnight last year
Yeah.
with Qatar and Jeddah in the same region.
Yeah.
I'm not staying up till 2 in the morning on a Monday watching.
I might.
I might watch Abu Dhabi
Yeah.
if that's going to be the title deciding race, which very well might be.
Yeah.
I might go to bed at 8 and then get up and watch Abu Dhabi.
Because that's the thing. Like, because of the hour that it's on, we don't really get to watch it live. And then
We've been fine until now. I think Austin, Mexico, pretty much since we got to Austin, it's fucked us.
yeah.
Because most of the races start at 11, which is manageable.
But the worst thing is when you wake up the next morning and you check your phone and it's all the alerts with all the fucking spoilers. So you already know who's going to win the race.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did that this morning.
Unless you listen to Triple M, where instead of giving you news reports about who won the race, they just play more and more fucking Foo Fighters.
I listened to Star, and they dropped like the F1 results like 3 times in 3 news breaks, and the MotoGP.
Yeah,
It's like, who
we've
it's
got
like,
4CRM. They can't even say Ricardo's name right, but they still talk about the Formula One more.
good old Ricciardo.
Ricciardo. But
Go him.
yeah.
Go the Ollie. Oh, shout out to Remy Gardner for winning the MotoGP, the Moto2 World Championship, son
Yes.
of Wayne Gardner.
Yes.
Congratulations, good job, son. See you in MotoGP very, very soon.
And Mick Doohan's son, he drives in...
Jack,
Yeah, Jack Doohan, he drives in
Formula 3.
Formula 3,
Yep.
yeah. So
I think they finished their seasons at Abu Dhabi as well, don't they?
I think so.
Because we've got Jack Doohan, I think he's going for the F3 title. We've got Oscar Piastri going for the Formula 2 title. Remy Gardner's already won the Moto2. You know, it's good year for Australians in motorsport, except for maybe Daniel Ricciardo, but at least he got a win.
Yeah. And even though Oscar Piastri looks like he might have a real good shot at winning the F2, they're still saying that Juan Guizhou is going to get the seat at Alfa Romeo.
Did you hear during the broadcast that Crofty reckons there was an Alfa Romeo dealership in China that had Guan Yu Zhou's face up saying welcome to Formula One? So they reckon they've broke the announcement a couple of days early, which sucks for him. Which sucks for him because he deserves it, but we said the same thing about Nick de Vries. We said the same thing about Callum Ilott. You know, plenty of fucking good drivers miss out, unfortunately. But, you know...
I think Callum Ilott's going to IndyCar next year.
Yeah, I think that's a power move. I think they need someone to break the Chinese market with a Chinese driver.
Yeah, get some Chinese blood money.
Yeah, so we'll see how that progresses.
Anyway, So that's the story with next week's race. It might be a little bit later in the
Yeah, it might be a
week.
later week, depending.
Yeah, it
knock
depends.
me for 2 days. So if it knocks you for 2 days,
Yeah.
that's going to be like a Thursday podcast maybe.
Yeah.
So if it's delayed, you know why.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for tuning in this week. On behalf of myself and JB, we will catch you next week.
At some stage.
Until then, it is goodbye. Congratulations, Australia winning the World Cup.
T20 World Cup champions, baby.
Yeah.